Now, in this video, I have tried to condense all of my 15 years of experience in just this particular video, which will equip you with all the basics about photography which you need to know as a beginner. Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad that you're here today. I'm Anshu and I have been a photographer for over 15 years now. Now today's video is going to be very special because I'm talking about a complete essential beginner's guide to photography. Now this is a video which I wanted to make since I started making YouTube videos, but here we are, and finally I have been able to make this video. Now whether you have just unboxed a new camera or you're looking at enhancing your skill as a beginner, I'm sure you'll find something in this video, and this may help you in trying to enhance your skills. Now, of course, each topic which I'm going to discuss today can be a deep dive topic on its own, but my intention with this video today was to give you a basic information and equip you with everything in terms of the breadth of photography. And definitely I'll be making more detailed videos about each aspects of photography in future, but this video should give you some idea in terms of what you should be looking at as a photography when you're starting. Now, this video will really help if you have a DSLR or a mirrorless camera, or even a basic camera which lets you have some kind of a manual control in terms of changing the aperture or the shutter of the camera. So I will walk through these elements of camera settings. And also I just wanted to mention before we start that this video is not only about camera settings. I'm in fact going to talk about the complete breadth of photography. So camera is just one aspect to it. There are many more aspects to photography, which is also something I want to focus on today. So grab your camera, sit back, and let's take a first step in the journey of your photography. First, let's focus on the camera mode itself. Now, the cameras these days give you a lot of option in terms of different dial modes. So this is something which you can see on the dial button of your camera. And as a beginner, I would recommend you go ahead with an aperture or a shutter priority mode. Now, the reason for that is that it is kind of a semi-automatic mode. It will still give you some creative freedom, but also some of the other parameters of your photography will be decided by your camera, which is a plus, especially when you're learning how to photograph. Okay, now the most important thing, actually, irrespective of any camera you're using, is how you should be knowing the difference between ISO, shutter, and aperture. Now think aperture and shutter as equivalent of your eye. So aperture is similar to your iris dilating, and shutter is similar to how often you blink. So it's very similar to the camera. So if you want to let more light inside your camera sensor, then you should be keeping your aperture wider or more open, and you should also keep your shutter more slow, in terms of you should let your shutter open for a longer period of time. So something like, say, 1/50th of a second, or something like even 1 second when the light is very low in conditions like night photography. So try to experiment between your aperture and shutter settings. And this is, I feel, one of the most crucial things you should be learning about your camera. So how you balance between your aperture and shutter will really eventually give different styles of photography. Okay, so now I'm going to vary the aperture, and it is at 1.8 now. Let's start increasing. So it's f2, f2.2, now it's at f13, f14, f16. Best way to learn about shutter and aperture and how it affects your photo is to go ahead and experiment. Now keep your camera dial in one particular mode. So for example, you can go ahead and keep your aperture priority and set your aperture to say f8 for example. Now f8 is a very small aperture, so that means you'll have to keep your shutter more open and then try experimenting with your different shutter speeds, and you should be then experimenting with different styles of photography. And now balancing between the shutter and the aperture is something what photographers have been doing for many years, even before the invention of digital camera. Now these were like the holy trinity basics of camera and photography, and using these creatively is something what actually creates great images. Now, one last thing which I also wanted to talk about was the ISO. So ISO is something you should be thinking it as your camera's sensitivity to light. So for example, if your ISO is going to be higher, then your sensor is going to be more kind of grainy and noisy. The photos is going to be more noisy or grainy. So your aim should be to keep your ISO kind of as low as possible, maybe sometimes even in an acceptable range. But again, so try to introduce now this third parameter, that is ISO, to your already experiments with the aperture and the shutter. So start off with a lower ISO, and once it starts getting more and more darker, then you can go ahead and increase your ISO to see how it is actually affecting your photos. Okay, so next we will be talking about lighting itself. Now, in my opinion, I feel lighting is one of the most crucial aspects of photography. Now, you could have a very expensive camera, but if you don't know how to manage lighting in your photograph, then you could end up with terrible photos irrespective of the camera which you're using. So ideally, before you even pick up your camera and you're serious about photography, then you should be studying lighting and how it impacts your photos. Now, like here, see how the light is terrible, but though this was a beautiful shot and composition, it just is not doing for this photo. And in this situation where I feel the opposite is true, the composition is very, very minimal with hardly anything, and the subject is also not great, but just because of the lighting, this photo is something which you can say is a stunning photo. Now, one of the best ways to study lighting is also by studying a lot of great photographs and photographers. So I feel each and every photographer or someone who really shoots professionally will know how to manage their light. So essentially, if you know how to manage your light, then you can photograph. So for the purpose of this video, I'm not going to deep dive into lighting. I have talked about some of the lighting aspects in one of my earlier videos. So in this particular video, I talked about backlighting. If you're interested, you can go and check this out. Now, there are different ways of introducing different kinds of light in your subject. So the two most commonly used light sources are the natural light, which is the light coming from the sun and from your ambient day environment, and the second lighting is also artificial lighting, which in itself is a complete different genre of photography. Now, my photography style is to use a lot of natural lighting, and I try to use natural light in different angles, locations and directions. Now, sometimes when you're shooting even indoors, you can also benefit from using a natural light, so you should be trying to shoot next to a window which has ample natural light coming in from that particular source. Now remember, your lighting is something which should be directional. Now by directional, what I mean is that usually if you have light coming from one particular angle, like in this example, the video where I'm shooting, my key light is coming from my left side, and which is actually giving me a directional light. So any kind of directional light is really great for photography, but also obviously there are situations where you have an overall light could also add a lot of interest to photograph. so in this section, I'm not going to be talking a lot about composition, but just to give you some very basic composition tips which you should be focusing on as a beginner are looking for, say, leading lines. Now, usually, if you observe a lot of great photos, they have some kind of leading lines in their photos. The other thing also which I would suggest is you should be focusing on rule of thirds. So what it does is that you are going to divide your photo into 9 equal parts, 9 rectangles actually, and then you should be focusing your subject or trying to keep your subject at the intersection of these lines, which actually creates a more interesting photo when compared to keeping your subject somewhere like in the center of your photos or probably too much on your left or right. Okay, so not to complicate things, but in addition to the very basic camera setting, I wanted to add a couple of more camera setting. Now, I don't want to confuse you at all, but these camera setting could be something which you could learn after you have mastered the first 2 settings, which I just mentioned earlier. Now, one of them is the autofocus. Now, most of the cameras these days lets you autofocus on the subject which you are trying to click, and try to learn the different modes of your camera focusing. So usually when you're trying to click a portrait, the best mode to choose is your auto eye detection, which will actually detect the eye of your subject, and it becomes easier for you to focus on your particular subject. Now, one more thing which I wanted to mention about camera setting is how you should be choosing between a RAW and JPEG. Now, as a beginner, it could be a little confusing and you may end up clicking RAW photos at times, but I feel if you're starting as a beginner, try to click photos in JPEG format itself, and once you have mastered that, then you can go ahead and try to click photos in RAW file formats. Now, I have also done another video on comparing between these 2 formats, so feel free to go ahead and check that out. So let's talk a little bit about photo editing. So after you have downloaded your images from your camera to your computer, you could be doing a little bit of photo editing to enhance your photos. Now, as a beginner, I would suggest you should be going with JPEG, which will actually require very less editing because most of the photos will have some editing done already in the camera. And in case if you're shooting RAW, then try to use your camera's native app, which is usually free for most of the camera brands. So for example, Nikon has its own native camera app, plus Canon has its own native camera app, and you can go ahead and download this from internet. And these native camera apps are really good as a beginner because they will give you some basic editings like changing exposure, changing some of the white balance of your photos, which is quite easier to do in these camera apps. Now, as a beginner, please don't over edit your photos, but I would feel that you should try to get your exposure, everything right within your camera itself. Okay, let's talk a little bit about lenses. Now, most of the cameras these days have interchangeable lenses. It means that you can change the lenses for your camera, but there are also a lot of cameras which are actually fixed lenses, so you won't have that capability to change your lenses. Now, if you're going ahead with an interchangeable lens camera, then there are 3 basically prime categories of lenses which you should be looking at. Now, the first lens category are the prime lenses. So usually prime lenses are a fixed focal length lens. It means that you won't be able to zoom in and zoom out using your lens. So these lenses are really great for a lot of photography, and not only beginners but even a lot of professionals use very advanced prime lenses because they give a lot of professional quality work. Now the second category of lenses are the wide angle lenses. Now these lenses are perfect for landscape, and the focal length of wide angle lenses is something more wider than what you normally see as a human. So these kind of lenses, especially if you go very wide, say something like 20 mm or maybe even 15 mm, they are really good for landscape, because that they will give you a wider range of field of view when you are going ahead and clicking a photo. Now the other type of lenses are the telephoto lenses. So telephoto lenses are the zoom lenses, which are actually will give you a zoomed effect when you're going ahead and clicking your photos. Now, I would highly recommend that you should be buying a prime lens if you're starting your photography, and especially a 50 mm lens is an ideal beginner lens in my opinion. Now, if you want to know a little bit more about the 50 mm lens, I have done a video earlier. You can check it out here. All right, now a small word about photography accessories. Now there are hundreds and thousands of photography accessories which you can go ahead and buy for your camera, which in a way will kind of enhance your photography. But as a beginner, I feel you should not even be bothered about going ahead and looking into the various accessories and trying to get confused with all of them. So the only accessory, in fact, which I recommend that you should be buying as a beginner is a tripod. Now, tripod is something which is quite essential if you want to have a steady photo, and they're also very good for making steady videos. So currently, even I'm also shooting on keeping my camera on a tripod for that steady video effect. Okay, a couple of things more about the camera setting. I know I'm trying to sneak in some of the camera settings, but this is going to be the last one. So this setting is about knowing the color balance for your camera. So basically, color balance refers to the white balance, essentially how cool or warm your photos are going to be. So if you choose a color balance with warmer tones, then your photos are going to be more yellowish, and if you choose a color balance with cooler tones, then your photo is going to be more on the bluish side. Now, in order to choose the correct color balance, which is actually something you should not be bothered when you're shooting in RAW, because you can go ahead and change that in your post-processing. But if you're shooting in a JPEG mode, then you should always try to shoot the same color balance which your camera provides when in the same lighting situation. So for example, if you're shooting outdoors in a very sunny kind of a situation, then go ahead and choose a white balance of sunny mode setting. Now I'm going to change the white balance. So it's at direct sunlight now. Let's go to a cloudy setting. Now it's at shade. This is incandescent and it's fluorescent, and I can choose a Kelvin scale. Plus there is also a preset. So let me just go back to direct sunlight. Or I can even keep it to a cloudy, because I'm in currently a cloudy situation. So that's it. Okay, I know a lot of people, when they actually talk about photography, they only mean camera settings or how you should be technically going ahead and clicking a photo. But I also wanted to include few very critical aspects which I feel is something which will kind of differentiate between a kind of an average photo and a great photo. Now, think about storytelling, which is quite critical when you're going ahead and photographing. So essentially, you have only one capture to talk about the story of your photo. Do you want to capture some kind of candid shots which will really convey some kind of very authentic moments? Or do you want to create a sequence of photos, say different kinds of close-ups, maybe some kind of a wide shots when you're going on a vacation or a travel, and show the different aspects of that location? So in this final section, I wanted to talk a little bit about how you can develop your photography style. Now, photography style is something which I feel takes years, if not months, but if you are kind of quite keen to learn about photography, then there are many ways in which you can develop your style. So one of the things which you can do is try to create a photography corner first in your home setting itself. Now try to go ahead and choose a location, maybe something next to a window, and set up a small table. And or if you're interested in, say, a still life or a portrait photography, and click photos probably every day too, and see and try out the different camera settings and see what really works for you, what are the styles which you really like. Now if you want to go ahead and click some kind of a portrait shots, then pick someone from your family, and in the same kind of a scenario or same kind of a setting, that is, you can go ahead and start clicking those that model or your family member next to a window. Now once you have become comfortable indoors, then you can move outdoors and then try to experiment with the same kind of setting outdoors or in a location which has maybe some kind of a natural background or some kind of a city background. Again, experiment with your camera settings, with your aperture, with your shutter, with your ISO, and see what best works for you. And there you have it. This was my beginner's guide to photography. And remember, it's never about the gear, but how you actually use it. So practice these tips and also try to experiment with different kinds of settings and situations. I'm sure you will improve your skills as a beginner. If you really found this video useful, then please do consider subscribing to my channel, like this video and share it with your friends. I will see you in another video. Till then, happy clicking.